We're going to stay, yeah, we'll stay up here.
Should I start? Good morning. My name is Deirdre Gordon, a member of your Board of Trustees. Welcome to all of you here and to all of you who are joining us online. We're so glad to have you with us this morning. A special welcome to visitors. Please join us for coffee and conversation across the hall after the service. This community is one of hope and caring, where every person matters. We aspire to live our values every day, keeping love at the center of everything we do. This is such a challenging time in the world, and now more than ever, MLUC offers a safe and nurturing place. You are welcome here. Everyone is welcome here. Our worship team for today includes Reverend John Morehouse, our senior minister, Dawn Starr Sayers Borschelt, our Director of Learning and Family Ministries, and Deborah McKnight, our Worship Associate. Music today is provided by the Bayou Porch Rockers. Thank you to the media team for managing sound and tech. Now, Dana Wiley from the stewardship team has a message.
Good morning. You'll see in your service after Reverend John's sermon, there will be a discussion of how MLUC opens your hearts. And there will be 3 questions that we wanted to put up now, especially for the introverts who may need to think about it for a while. Think about what this church has meant to you, what it means to you, something that has risen up for you while you've been coming here. And we'll show those questions again at that moment. But I wanted to just say good morning, and I just am looking out and wanting to implant all of this into my mind. It's always lovely to see all friends and people I don't know their stories yet, which I would love to know. Love rising up. That's the theme of our annual pledge drive, to claim what we are called to be and do. For one another here, for our wider community, for our nation and beyond. This isn't just about how we feel. It's about how we show up and what we make possible together. If you're newer here, our pledge drive is the time of year when each household at MLUC lets the board and staff know what they promise to give to support the church in the coming fiscal year. These pledges are what allow us to build a realistic operating budget to fund our staff, our ministry programs and events, and support our building and grounds. This is a community grounded in love, a place where you can come to just sit in quiet and remember you are not alone, where we can think and wrestle honestly together with big questions, where children and teens are seen and named as people of inherent worth, and where we can join together to act for justice and compassion in our community. It is also a place where across the generations, we walk with one another in grief and joy, where older and younger alike can keep growing spiritually and share the wisdom of their lives, and where deep and new friendships form. In all these ways and more, this church matters in real ways in people's lives. For some of you, this is the place where the noise of the week quiets down enough to hear your own heart again. For others, it helps you hold on to love when the world feels harsh and reminds you that you are worthy of love just as you are. For others, it's the people you call to celebrate with, to meditate and sing with, and to show up for justice together. All of this doesn't just happen on its own. It's something we create together. The energy and sense of shared ministry, it feels good, and we are truly just starting. Our annual budget is really a picture of our ministry and our values, not just our bills. For this next year, it means expanding our social justice ministry with the hire of a new director of social justice, strengthening our programs and events, and opportunities for more connection, collaboration, and discovery for adults, children, and youth, and caring well for our buildings and grounds so they may remain open, safe, welcoming home for our community and our partners. So as we launch this pledge season, we are inviting each household to make a thoughtful, and for many of us, a stretching pledge that reflects both our gratitude for what you found here and your commitment to the love rising up in this church for you and for others, as more and more people look to this community for grounding and courage. Well, I seem to be missing my third page here. I think what I wanted to say was thank you for listening. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for being here. And after the service, we have a table out in the atrium. You can make your pledge out there. You can scan a QR code, make your pledge online. There'll be an email going out where you can respond to that. So the bottom line is by March 31st, we'd love to have all your pledges in so that then our board and staff can make this realistic budget I was talking about. Thank you.
And now, please silence your electronic devices and join me in affirming our mission. Together, we transform lives through love, service, and our welcoming faith.
So welcome, everybody. It's great to see a full house here today. We're going to be celebrating Mardi Gras a little bit late. We are the Bayou Porch Rockers. I've been a UU for 49 years, and I met Jansen, and then we got Tom, and so we've been playing Cajun music as a trio. But today we have Elise, Jansen's wife, joining us, and also David Brown, your music director. So that's kind of fun. So Jansen and Elise have something to share with you.
We have a mission statement that we do before every performance.
Yes, our mission statement is together we played our joyful music with great ease. Great ease. Together we play our joyful music with great ease, expressing our love and passionate friendship which warms the hearts of those around us.
This is a song called New Shoes, and it's about that feeling when maybe you're feeling a little bit blue and you just want to go out and buy something new. Oh, now if you're going down to New Orleans, baby, won't you take me with you? Ah, 'cause I can't stand sitting around, wonder what it is that you do. And it seems the way that you talk to me ain't like the way you used to. And if things around here don't straighten out, I'm gonna buy myself some new shoes. I'm gonna walk away from your heart. I'm gonna sing my way back home. Do 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 do. Louisiana and Baton Rouge, Newton Town, and I sing the blues to you. And I call you on the telephone, and I find that you're not all alone, and I'm blue. So I walk on down to the Five and Dime, I buy some shoes and start to look real fine today. I hold my head up high and I never cry. I'm gonna carry on that way. I'm gonna walk away from your heart. I'm gonna sing my way back home. I'm gonna walk away from your heart. I'm gonna sing my way back home. Do 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 do. Louisiana and Baton Rouge, Newton Town, and I sing the blues to you. And I call you on the telephone, and I find that you're not all alone, and I'm blue. So I walk on down to the Five and Dime, I buy some shoes and start to look real fine today. I hold my head up high and I never cry. I'm gonna carry on that way. I'm gonna walk away from your heart. I'm gonna sing my way back home. I'm gonna walk away from your heart. I'm gonna sing my way back home. I'm gonna walk away from your heart. I'm gonna sing my way back home. Do 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 do.
Our chalice lighting today is called As We Travel in Unknown Lands. It's by Barnaby Fetter, based on a reading by Doug Hammarskjöld. We kindle a flame we trust will lead us forward as we travel in unknown lands, where the question, shall I ever get there, resounds. A clear, pure note in every silence. Please stand as you can in body or spirit to sing hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
Spirit I'd like to invite the members of the Stepping Stone class and their teachers to come forward. We're going to just stand right along here, right along the steps. So kids who were in Stepping Stone, come on up. There we go. I would say stand on the first or second step so we're not bumping into the sound equipment. Yeah, and spread out a little bit. Okay. Jansen, do you want to start with this?
This year, second and third grade children were invited to participate in our Stepping Stones program. In their classes, they learned about Unitarian Universalist history and visited with elder members of the MLUC, who grew up as Unitarian Universalists. They learned about the people who make our church work and the rituals we celebrate as a community.
Stepping Stones is a rite of passage in which we recognize that our children are grown enough to begin to be responsible for expressing their own understanding of what it means to be part of this religious community. We have invited the children to tell us which UU value is their favorite and why.
I chose justice because justice is the freedom and hope that lives in your heart.
I chose justice and the same thing.
I chose love because if you don't have love, you would be lonely and sad.
I chose pluralism because you can see if one another is different.
I chose justice because everybody deserves to be treated the same way.
I chose justice because everybody needs to treat other people the same way as they are. I chose love because everyone deserves love.
So there's a couple reasons why this program is called Stepping Stones, but one of them is that we have the clay lady come and help the kids make a stepping stone, which is then later going to be displayed in the McGinnis room or somewhere else in the building. So that's this year's stepping stone, and you'll be able to see it for posterity. And in recognition of your completion of the Stepping Stone program at MLUC, we have for each of you a certificate and a Stepping Stones chalice necklace created by the clay lady. Reverend John has those. So I'm going to suggest that instead of handing those out here, we actually take them out because they're going to hang out in the fireside room and put together some special snacks for coffee hour for you. So it is time for children and youth to go to their classes. Stepping Stone, you can go straight to the fireside room. You don't have to come to the atrium sign out. Thank you.
Each month, we donate half of our collection to a worthy organization in need. The recipient of MLUC's offering outreach for March is the Mitzvah Circle, a registered 501c3 nonprofit located in Lansdale that provides support for people and families in need by providing care packages containing things like clothing, shoes, diapers, household goods, toiletries, and more. Here to tell us about the Mitzvah Circle is founder and executive director Fran Held.
Hi, good morning. So I'm the founder and director at Mitzvah Circle, and here's the truth. It started in my garage. It started in my garage with no volunteers, no money, no people, just me. And I can tell you that's really what the power of one person is about, and that seems like what your service is about here also, right? What can one person do to make someone else feel a little bit less alone, a little bit more lifted up, a little more connected? So I got a call. I don't know if it was the call, but it was a call. And it was a call from a soccer coach, and he said, I heard you're a lady who will help when no one else will. And if somebody called you and they said that, you might think, go ahead. I thought, you got the wrong number. It was over 15 years ago, and today I might have thought, spam, reject that call. So I listened, and I thought, okay, I can help one family, right? Because we can all help one person. But what happens when you do something well? One person tells another person, it's like the old shampoo commercial, right? You tell one person and another person and another person, and all of a sudden, I had people dropping donations in my driveway. And I'll tell you a story. My husband was on a business trip, and I have 3 kids, and my husband came back, and he called me on the phone and said, I can't get in the driveway. And I said, why not? And he said, because it's filled with bags of stuff. What do you think this all is? And I said, I don't know. But of course I did know. So I was really running a business out of my garage, but I didn't realize it was a business yet. And so that one family, it was a mom with 2 kids, and she had cancer. And she wasn't doing well. And when people aren't doing well, some people become afraid. They're afraid to visit. They're afraid to call. And it's really not about the sick person, it's about the well person's discomfort. I don't have that discomfort. So I went and visited and helped, and meals and all the things that we do when people need our help, even if they're not people we know. And then another person and another person. And so in that first year, there were about 400 families that needed help. And so I was calling my neighbors and getting their old grandmas off the couch to help me. That's really true. You got anybody who can help? And let's fast forward 15 years later. We have 4,300 unique volunteers that make this happen. Right? So some people come one time a year, but there are many people who have retired and they come every day, but it's because how they love their neighbors. Right? How they love strangers, how they love people who don't have people. You are lucky to have this community because you have people, but there are so many people right in our neighborhood who just don't have a person. I'll tell you a couple of quick things. I know I only have a few minutes this morning. So we got a call from a guy named Jeff. He's local, and he's living in a shed. Jeff is 61 years old. He works full-time for a landscape company. And he happened to have a heart attack, and he bypassed surgery. Lost his apartment, lost all his belongings, was evicted, was in the hospital for a month or 2, had some complications, went to rehab, came back to start over with nothing. Called Mitzvah Circle. Now, I want to let you know we spend no money on marketing, so this is all through our partner agencies. I'll tell you about that after. Anyway, back to Jeff. So Jeff called Mitzvah Circle. He said his boss actually knew about us and said that he would permit him to sleep in his unheated shed, but he could not provide clothing, toiletries, social work support, which we provide, coaching. We give over 100 different products, but the key is we deliver it to your door. And we do that because people don't have transportation or they can't carry 6 boxes of things with 3 kids. So Jeff is working and hoping to save money so that he will be able to get an apartment and won't have to live in an unheated shed. Just like Shirley, who just took in her 3 grandchildren but can't afford baby diapers for the youngest one, right? So there are lots of things that aren't covered by government assistance. And the last person I'll quickly mention is a single dad who was picked up by ICE but is here legally. A neighbor had to watch his daughter. He lost his job and is now starting over with nothing. So for us, the people that we serve, it's all people. right? We say to you, are you getting government assistance? Do you meet our income threshold? But we don't make you provide materials. We don't say to you, show us, come in for 7 meetings. We talk to you on the phone and we have several conversations and we talk to people, right? Because that's how you get to know somebody one-on-one. And then we provide what the people need. And for people moving forward, people want to move forward. 70% of the people we serve are working and 30% are disabled. So I feel like what we do works, right? We look at the family holistically. We don't say, I think you need this to move forward and to be part of a community. I ask, what do you need? Our social workers ask, what can we do to help bridge the gaps for you and your family so you can move forward and do all the things being in community that you want to do? So I hope you'll help us, come visit, and I really appreciate you having me here this morning. Thank you.
To make a cashless donation, whether watching remotely or from here in the sanctuary, please follow the instructions on the screen or on the back page of the order of service. The offering will now be gratefully received. Will the ushers please come forward?
Comment se fait, tu tiendrais pas à la maison, bébé? T'en aller si loin de moi, c'est avec un autre. Tu connais, moi je regrette. J'ai du regret pour tout ça, moi je te fais. Pardonnez-moi, viens-toi donc à la maison, chère.
At this time in the service, it is our custom to share our personal joys, sorrows, and concerns. As a community, we acknowledge each joy or sorrow by lighting a candle and saying together, "We hold you in our hearts." Lilia Weber shares that this week, transgendered people in Kansas are under full attack for just living their lives. Trans folks across Kansas reported receiving letters from the Kansas Division of Vehicles stating that they must surrender their driver's licenses and that their current credentials will be considered invalid upon the law's publication later this past week. Should any transgender person be caught driving without a valid license, they could face a Class B misdemeanor carrying up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine. Also, Kansas already requires county jails to house inmates according to sex assigned at birth. Another attack was Kansas SB 244, known as the Bathroom Bounty Bill, which the legislature passed after overriding a veto by the Kansas governor. This law, taking effect immediately, bans transgender people from using bathrooms matching their gender identity in public buildings and creates a bathroom bounty hunter system, allowing citizens to sue transgender people they encounter in restrooms for at least $1,000 in damages, including potentially in private restrooms. To the transgender and gender-expansive people in Kansas and all of our country, we hold you in our hearts. And let us light one more candle for those of us with joys or sorrows too deep to say out loud at this time. We hold you in our hearts.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Yvette McDonnell, and I am the Congregational Life Coordinator here at MLUC and the Ministerial Intern. And I have been working with an amazing group of people, the lay chaplains here of MLUC, and today I have some really great news that Sue Compton here has joined the Congregational Care Team and is now a lay pastoral chaplain. And Sue Compton, I have to put my glasses on because I cannot see. Sue Compton has completed the lay chaplaincy training, and she is coming to us with an extensive background on training as a death doula. Some of you may have attended the workshop that she did this past, fall? This past fall, 3-part series on death and dying. And Sue will be leading, we're working out the details, but Sue will be leading a death cafe once a month for members and friends of MLUC. And as we move forward, Sue, in her lay chaplaincy role, will assist myself and Reverend John and the rest of the lay chaplains with our shared pastoral ministry here at MLUC.
In this role as a lay pastoral chaplain, Sue will serve our congregation as a volunteer by the following activities: visit the ill at home or in the hospital, support those going through major life changes or crises, such as major health issues, loss of job, divorce, or retirement, maintaining contact with those unable to attend a church due to illness or disability, support friends and family involved in caregiving, comfort the bereaved, make herself available to talk by phone and meet with church members in their homes or in the hospital, handle all personal information we are exposed to, and they are exposed to personal information with the highest level of confidentiality and care, and to support the choice and development of the next wave of pastoral care chaplains to ensure continuity of pastoral care in our congregation.
As a lay pastoral chaplain, I covenant in service of our congregation to give mutual support, fellowship, and advice to each other, to grow in our openness and transparency with each other, to meet on a monthly basis for support and continuing education, to invest time and effort to assist each other towards our personal and spiritual growth, to keep love at the center of all our interactions with you, to respect and honor each person's inherent worth and dignity. I covenant with you, the congregation, to work with our ministers and our staff in a continuing process to cherish and care for all members of our church community.
We hereby commission Sue as our newest lay chaplain and present her with a chaplain badge. You get your very own badge here, Sue. And after the candles of community, which we've done, we will commission you now royally and fully in this role. Will you, the congregation, place your trust in Sue? Will you allow yourself, even push yourself, to ask for her care and receive her care? And will you honor her with the role and responsibilities of lay ministry? And if so, will you please answer, we will? We will. With this trust and love, and on behalf of our congregation, we hereby commission you as our lay pastoral chaplain. May you take up the mantle of this ministry with love and support from your congregation. Thank you, Sue.
Today's reading is the Taoist parable, The Chinese Farmer, as retold by Dr. Christopher Kaiser, professor of philosophy at Loyola Marymount University. It first appeared in a collection called the Huananzi, a collection of essays that resulted from a series of debates carried out at the court of Luo An, Prince of Hunan, one of the kingdoms of the Han Dynasty in what we now call China, sometime before 139 BCE. Okay. Long ago, there was a widowed Chinese farmer. The farmer and his only son labored through the cold winds of winter and scorching rays of summer with their last remaining horse. One day, the son didn't lock the gate of the stable properly, and the horse bolted away. When the neighbors learned what happened, they came to the farmer and said, "What a sadness this is. Without your horse, you will not be able to maintain the farm. What a failure that your son did not lock the gate properly. This is a great tragedy." And the farmer replied, "Maybe yes, maybe no." The next day, the missing horse returned to the farmer's stable, bringing along with it 6 wild horses. The farmer's son locked the gate of the stable firmly behind all 7 horses. When the neighbors learned what happened, they came to the farmer and said, "What a happiness this brings. With 7 horses, you'll be able to maintain the farm with 3 of them and sell the rest for huge profits. What a blessing." And the farmer replied, "Maybe yes, maybe no." The next day, the farmer's son was breaking in one of the wild horses. The son got thrown from the horse, fell on hard rocks, and broke his leg. When the neighbors learned what happened, they came to the farmer and said, "What a great sadness this is. Now you'll be unable to count on your son's help. What a failure to bring in the horse properly. What a tragedy." And the farmer replied, "Maybe yes, maybe no." The next day, a general from the Imperial Chinese Army arrived to conscript all young men of the village into the army. Their assignment was to fight on the front lines of a battle against a terrifying enemy of overwhelming force. The farmer's son, because of his broken leg, was not taken. When the neighbors learned what happened, they came to the farmer and said, "What a great joy. Your son avoided facing certain death on the front lines of the battle. What a blessing." And the farmer replied, "Maybe yes, maybe no." Please join me now for a moment of silent reflection.
Only in a UU service can you have the Bayou Rockers celebrating a late Mardi Gras and an early Purim tomorrow, March 2nd, amidst the beginning of our pledge drive. I'd forgotten that it was our pledge drive, to be honest. Sorry, Dana, I did. When I made this sermon title, I was thinking, oh, the mystery of it all. And now I've got to figure out how to put mysticism together with giving money. We'll see how that works out. In ministry, this is referred to as the Sermon on the Amount. We'll see. Last Father's Day, I shared with you a story about how my wife and I were driving through Yellowstone Park many summers ago. Driving by, there's a beautiful glacier lake in the middle of the park. And I told her, I said, get off. She was driving. I said, I got to jump in this lake. And she said, what? I said, pull off the side of the road. I got to jump in the lake. Okay. I'm not actually that impulsive, so she is, but I'm not. And she's like, all right. So she pulls over, and I strip down to my skivvies, and I jump in the lake, and it's a glacier lake. So it's cold. And I come roaring out, and I go, wow. And I get out of the lake and dry myself off and get back in the car, and we drive along. She's like, odd decision, wasn't that? I said, I don't know why I did that. I just felt the need to jump in this lake. We get down to the eastern side of the Rockies coming out of the park, and the cell phones, which had not been working, suddenly start buzzing. It's my brother. My brother who lives in Massachusetts, near my father who lives in Massachusetts, and he said, Dad's had a heart attack. I need you to get back here. It doesn't look good. So we drove to Billings and found a plane to Minneapolis, and I found a plane to Hartford, Connecticut, and I found my father, who was in a coma at that point. He'd had a heart attack while he was swimming in a pond. And I figured out it happened at exactly the same time as I jumped in that lake. Was that a coincidence? Was it serendipity? Was it synchronicity? Was it the divine trying to give me some kind of a message? I'll actually never really know the answer to that question, except to say that that moment was so cleansing for me. In this time of absolute madness, my friends, and let's not forget that this is happening in the midst of a war in the Middle East, a war waged by one man against an entire region that could devolve into something far greater and far more dangerous. As in this time of when we think we might actually be living in this post-truth world, whatever that means, how do we find something that grounds ourselves to the sane world that we want to live in? How do we look at the beyondness of all this and find any meaning? I most often describe myself these days spiritually as an enchanted agnostic with mystical tendencies, which is cuter than it sounds, actually. The enchanted part is right enough. I do think that there's a lot that we don't know in the universe. I think there's a lot about ultimate power and powers that are greater than ourselves, not just worldly powers, but what happens after we die, what all of this means. And I don't know what that is, but I'm enchanted by the prospect. And because I don't know what that means, I have to treat it like the mystics treat it, with a mystery that doesn't necessarily have to be figured out. Or as the bumper sticker said, I'm an agnostic and you are too, you just don't know it yet. When the great mystics of the Middle Ages spoke of the unknowable, they were surprisingly not anxious about their world. This was in the middle to late Middle Ages. The 12th to the 15th centuries were a time in Europe of great uncertainty. This was the time of the bubonic plague. This is when more than half of Europe's population simply disappeared. This was the time of the naked tyranny of kings and strong men who threw people off their land. And this is the time when the church's only response seemed to be, we're all going to hell. Surprisingly, the number one bestseller of the 15th century was a little book called The Cloud of Unknowing. Mystics found comfort in the unknowable. From Hildegard of Bingen, who in the 11th century, as an abbess, wrote, As an abbess, she wrote, God hugs you. You are encircled in the arms of the mystery of God. Or to Julian of Norwich, who in the 14th century is an anchoress. An anchoress is someone who spends their adult life in a cell, 8 by 10, usually attached to the side of a church with just a little slit to pass through food and take out things that are no longer wanted in the cell. And she writes beautiful, beautiful poetry about her visions of the ecstatic in a time of great, great uncertainty. And she said, all will be well in all manner of things, all will be well. Try imagining saying that right now, right? Or what gave them, or any of the mystics of that time, St. Francis of Assisi or the Buddha, what gave them this understanding of being at peace when their world was even more dangerous than ours? Perhaps it's the very act of surrendering to a mystery that we do not know that makes it possible for us to go on. And I'm not talking about simply ignoring what's going on, but knowing that we can't control what's going on. And I know that when I let go of control, which is a lifelong project for me, when I let go of control, it's very freeing, very freeing. And I try to live more and more by the maxim to be more curious and less judgmental about people. I would commend that to any of you who'd like to try that. Try asking questions. I've said this before. Ask questions when you're at a party. You'll be the most interesting person in the room. Wow, that's an amazing person over there. I don't know anything about them, but they're very interesting. Because they're talking about you, of course, right? We don't have to have everything under control. We can't have everything under control, especially now. Can I get an amen? What moves any of us to brave the elements of this life, the relationships and the unknown, the craziness of this world, what moves us on might very well be a power that we have no control over and may in fact be only waiting to be invited into our lives. Catherine Keller, who wrote a beautiful book many years ago called On the Mystery, said that our minds are perhaps the cosmic appetite for becoming something more. Lured by the possibility that there's something more in life, beyond the prayer, beyond the tears, beyond the anger. I'll never forget sitting with a family who lost their 9-year-old boy to cancer, and all they could do was scream, literally scream at me about why this was happening. You're the holy man, you're supposed to have the answers, why is this happening? And thank God I didn't say anything trite. I just said I don't know. I don't know, but what does matter is that we have one another, at least now, we have one another to get through this. And that's the real meaning of calm passion, to suffer with, to walk with passion. So I can't tell you why I jumped in that lake, but I can tell you that I'm happy that I did, that it was somehow connecting me to my Father. I think a decision to jump into a lake is luring and seductive, even if a bit crazy. And I can also tell you that swimming in that moment creates in all of us, when we do it, something very profound. Remembering something more than what was there. I believe that there's something more for us here. I believe that we're probably driven by something more collectively than we might be able to recognize. And I don't mean this as an individual journey. I mean this collectively as us. As we are right here now creating a theology together that will actually make a difference in this world and respond to the craziness that we're living through right now. The question for you, though, is are you okay with not knowing? Are you going to be open enough in your heart and your mind and your life to see the beauty and the mystery of who we are as Unitarian Universalists and to find the power of meaning in our lives by simply being together and doing good works? There are many paths to the holy. And beneath the diversity here, and there is diversity here, there is, as my colleague David Bombaugh said, a unity that binds us together despite time and death and the space between the stars. Many of us are moved by the knowledge that there's no wrong way to love, there's no wrong way to discover the holiness in your life. Kansas be damned. We will find a way to overcome that sort of fear, that understanding that nothing else is out there except the fear that we know. You can respond with fear or you can respond with hope. I'll pick hope. The acts of compassion and hope that are around us leads to the transcendent, but it doesn't need to involve a God. Don't get me confused with somebody up here railing about the only way to the Lord is through Jesus Christ. Amen. Because I'm not going to say that. But I am going to say that there may be something more than just you. And there may just be you. And it may just be us. And this may be as good as it gets, and that's okay too. The mystics knew that the only way they could experience God was to experience God. You couldn't be God unless you could let go into God. That's the way they put it. Or as even Zen Buddhists will say now, you have to die before you can die. The old Zen teaching is, you die before you die. If you die before you die, you won't die when you die. Huh? We don't know everything. We'll never know anything. Shakespeare had it right when Hamlet proclaims, there are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophies. One rabbinic teacher I know told me that allowing for imagination is one way in which we can let ourselves open to the unknowing. It is the way we fill the white space. Why is it that we feel the need to disprove the possibility of a God when that God or whatever it is doesn't really care at all? What really matters is what are we going to do about it? It's the practicality of our faith. And that's what makes us, I think, unique. Maybe not that unique, but unique enough as a community. And beloveds, this is where this church shines on your life. This is where you shine for one another. We are the place of love rising amidst this chaos. What might be seen as perhaps on the edge of another world war. We are the ones who, without any cosmic certainty at all, are still willing to invest our time with one another and the brotherhood and the sisterhood of one another. This is why we came here. This is why you support the church. This is why you pledge your money to come here. I did it. If there was ever a time to give money to an organization, my friends, this would be it, right? The pledge drive is just one extension of the love that we already share. Letting go of everything is not easy. Letting go of the things that cause us fear and anxiety is possible, but only if we can replace it with the love of one another. And the love that the world that we are engaged with now, as desperate as it seems, is still worth engaging with. What we're not here to do is fossilize into dogmatism. We're not here to proclaim something as the only truth. God knows. There's more than one truth in the world, right? There's more than one way to have a worship service, that's for sure. And there are a lot of different ways that we could be something more than just moralism, something more profound. Several months after my father died, we gathered as a large family on the shores of our island home, and we bade farewell to him, sending his ashes into the ocean. And after the ceremony, my only brother, and I sat down. My brother and I are not very close. He values rationality and tidiness to life. I tend to be more free-ranging. But at the moment we were sharing how in the death of your parent, your final parent, and my grandfather said this to me once, he said, your innocence is truly gone. It hadn't been easy for the two of us. My brother almost drowned when I was 8 years old. And I thought it was my fault because my mother had told me to keep an eye on him. It kept me distant from my brother for 30 years until I realized my mother had no right putting an 8-year-old in charge of a toddler at the edge of a pond while he was playing with his friends. And as I worked through that, I realized that that fear had been holding me back and that we needed to connect. And he said, we should talk more, bro. I said, yeah, we should. We should talk once a week. I said, yeah, it's not going to happen. But we can talk more. Our lives are full to running over, aren't they? It's hard to sometimes carve out time, something as simple as that. But I have called him more. A Trappist monk once told me that the way to understanding the holy in your life is to follow the pain. To understand the power, follow the money, right? To understand meaning in your life, follow the pain. Follow the pain of the breakdown. Follow the pain of this craziness we're living in. Follow the pain of being with those who don't have enough. Follow the pain of our own way of finding our way forward. You have to break down to break through, right? And that's why we support the congregation like we do, because without that greater meaning, we're not here at all. We're here to follow the pain, but find joy in the midst of that. I say again, as Audre Lorde said, joy is an act of resistance. Beyond our troubles, there is something through this we go through. And I remember what Jack Kornfield once said in his beautiful book, After the Ecstasy, the Laundry. We are moved, he said, initially by passions and the need to get through our struggles, and then we have to reinforce those passions with something greater, something that can get us through the days. We call this practice, spiritual practice, if you want. And practice spiritually happens in any number of ways. It can be a walk. It can be quiet in the morning. It can be staring into the eyes of the ones you love. It can be any of those things. Over the years, I've been an atheist, I've been a Buddhist, I've been a Christian, and now I'm a mystic, an enchanted mystic. And I moved from these perspectives in my faith journey because I realized ultimately they're all pretty much the same. Our spirit moves us to be compassionate. Our spirit moves us to move beyond the worry, but also to be engaged. Our spirit moves us to leave behind the worry that we're going to heaven because heaven's right here, or we're going to hell, which I totally reject because life is hell enough, right? In short, the Spirit moves us, my friends, when it binds us together in one body. The kind of beliefs that you have, my friends, are those beliefs that are best enacted when we are with one another. Can I get an amen to that? David Baumbaugh again says there's this unity that binds us together in spite of time and death and the space between the stars. We are the going together. We are the coming together of a community that will reach out in the midst of war and strife and hatred and the attacks on people because of who they are and who they love. We will be that something greater in the world. I believe we can do it. I believe the time is now. I know we're going to run a little late here, but we're now going to break into groups. And 3 or 4 of you at a time. I know this just makes the introverts among us cringe, but bear with us and give it a whirl. We're going to try this. We're going to answer. You can answer the questions. Can I have the questions up, please? There they are. However you want to answer those questions. Let's draw this together a little bit. I'm not going to have time to get the feedback from you all, but let's have a little time. We'll have about 5 to 6 minutes for discussion, so keep your conversation as brief as possible, try to focus in on one or all of those questions. Thank you. Let's take a little bit of time to do that. All right, thank you. Let's bring our, excuse me. Thank you, everybody. And I thought you wouldn't have anything to say. We're going to join together in our closing hymn, and then after that I'll give a short benediction, and then that will be the end of our service. The Bayou Rockers will play a recessional as we head on out. But let's join together in hymn number 324, Where My Free Spirit Onward Leads. Please rise in body or spirit. Sarah Moore said that we receive fragments of holiness, glimpses of eternity, brief moments of insight. Let us gather them up for the precious gifts that they are, and renewed by their grace, move boldly into the unknown. So may it be now and always, for now the service truly begins. Amen.
Feel free to dance. We are going to have a Mardi Gras march out after this one song we're doing now. So you might want to wait to jig out to the Mardi Gras song, but dance now too. There'll be a dance lesson in about 20 minutes, and then we're going to play for an hour for dance music and listening. Mardi Gras jig. Ça passe une fois par an, demandez la charité, comme même si c'est un